Hello everyone and welcome back to a best of 5 series of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Protoss versus Zerg between two channel favorites. We're in the bottom right hand corner of Berlingrad. Playing with the red Protoss probes from Germany, we have none other than ShoWTimE. And his opponent from Italy, playing with the blue Zerg drones. We're looking at a Reynor's main hatchery. I just realized that my scoreboard was upside down. There you go. This is actually the worst thing ever, man. I know I've mentioned this in previous casts as well, but whenever I watch someone else cast, you know, StarCraft games and the scoreboard is upside down. So, for example, in this particular case, Reynor has spawned in the top section of the map, ShoWTimE in the bottom. It should be reflected on the scoreboard as well. This is one of those little pet peeves that Wardy pointed out once upon a time, like 5 years ago. I never noticed it up to that point, and now I can't unsee it. There's probably at least a dozen of you that have never noticed that before either, and now you're not going to be able to unsee it either. Anyways, if you ever see that on YouTube, just, you know, let the caster know in the comment section, so that way we can all become better over time. Anyways, I'm curious to see where this particular best of 5 is going to go. So this is the grand finals of the ESL Open Cup Europe number 118, meaning that it got played, I think, about 2 weeks or so ago. I don't know exactly what happens in the series. No one's recommended it to me either. But the thing is, I haven't casted a whole lot of Raynor recently. I haven't really casted ShoWTimE in the new patch either. And I'm curious to see, especially how ShoWTimE approaches things. Because obviously the new patch, it's certainly brought a whole lot of instability in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. ShoWTimE is one of those guys who plays rock solid StarCraft 2. He, generally speaking, goes for whatever he deems to be the best build order over and over and over again. And while he's definitely capable of mixing it up, he plays a very sturdy style of Protoss, right? And right now, I mean, I feel like PvZ is a bit volatile. It's already, I guess, tightened up a little bit once again after, well, the patch was first out. A lot of Protoss players were experimenting with some crazy build orders. Turns out we've already eased away from that a little bit. But I'm curious to see how Mr. ShoWTimE is going to approach things. If I can make a prediction, I think it's still going to be a lot of Stargate play. I mean, obviously, ShoWTimE has been playing this game since Wings of Liberty, at least as far as I remember. Hold up, let me have a quick little look. ShoWTimE. I've been watching StarCraft 2 since 2010 myself, and I feel like I've been watching ShoWTimE compete ever since that time as well. Let's see. Okay, so he joined a professional gaming team for the first time in 2012. All right. So maybe I didn't see him at the very, very beginning of StarCraft, but anyways, we've got a whole lot of Zerglings right here, heading on over towards the bottom left-hand corner. That is way more Zerglings than you would normally produce. There is an Adept over here as well. I don't know if ShoWTimE actually noticed that there were that many links available, because this can definitely backfire. Adept at this point is shading forward. Link speed is still about 2/3 of the way done. There's a lot of units moving around the map already, though. ShoWTimE trying to outsmart his opponent. The same thing can be said so far here for Raynor. He did, by the way, go for that Stargate, so an Oracle is already coming up right here at the 3-minute mark. Alright, so not a lot of links available at home. Zerglings instead are gonna run through that open wall and are gonna be able to get into the base of the Protoss player pretty easily. Are both players just gonna take a bunch of damage here? Actually, no. I think that ShoWTimE probably wasn't target firing perfectly there, and he ended up losing a little bit more than he wanted to at home as well. I think he probably could have been... he could have definitely been killing a couple of the drones of the Zerg player there as well. Raynor definitely getting the advantage out of that little exchange. That being said, obviously, he did make quite a few Zerglings there too. It's not like that damage came for free. So, big picture here, yeah, certainly an advantage for the Zerg player, but also not game-ending damage by any stretch of the imagination. When did Raynor start playing this game? Hold up. Wikipedia has like a little section where it mentions years active. Raynor, obviously, was born in like, 2002. So I don't think he was playing the game in 2010 when it first came out. Apparently his years active, interestingly enough, starts in 2013. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Raynor, for the longest time, held the world record for youngest StarCraft 2 professional to ever make it into Grandmaster League. These days, that record has been broken. First off, I believe, by Fire, and then after that, by Iba. Iba, I think, got it at, like... I don't... hold up. I can look it up, but let's have a quick little peek right here at these oracles. How good is the micro? Alright, very good. I didn't realize Raynor has actually been playing the game for that long. I mean, it makes sense. But for some reason, to see that ShoWTimE has been active at a high level since 2012 and Raynor since 2013, it is kind of ironic. Iba I've mentioned this before in a previous cast as well, but he reached Grandmaster League. Okay, this is the exact number. He reached Grandmaster League at 11 years and 345 days old. He also just reached 6,000 MMR a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago at this point. 6,000 MMR is like, that's significantly better than I am. My peak MMR ever has been 5.5k. I am currently in Grandmaster League, but I would get absolutely destroyed. Like, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that within Grandmaster League, the MMR difference is absolutely gigantic. You can reach GM at like 5k MMR or so, and then you have guys like Cyril that literally are currently sitting at 7.5k. So within Grandmaster League, and it's not linear, within Grandmaster League, there's it's actually absurd. The difference between the rank 500 and the rank 1 is about as much as like the rank 500 and like, you know, Gold League. It's actually that extreme. Anyway, what do we have right here? So Reynor opting to go for a pretty quick +1 melee. Pretty late Roach Warren, all things considered, which is kind of funny. ShoWTimE going for a Stargate opener, building oracles. This is a build that we used to see back in the day. But now he's transitioning as well towards a robotics facility together with a robotics bay, a Twilight Council, and all the rest of it. So a Stargate start, which is kind of what I thought Mr. ShoWTimE would probably be playing, but then a transition towards a ground tools-based army instead. He does have a lot of experience playing this. It's just that most of that experience is several years old. Obviously, Queens got nerfed as well in the new patch, so this would probably be a game where Reynor could consider going for a Queen Walk, especially if you deal some damage early on and you gain a slight advantage. Usually that's a good point to go for a Queen March, but Queens, they can no longer transfuse off creep, so instead we're seeing Reynor now transition towards a Baling Nest, Aspire, +1 melee, and then also that Roach Warren. So that Roach Warren is probably just there in case there's a little bit of shenanigans here. I like this Oracle group, though. A lot of damage has been done. 10 drones, actually. 10 drones is very nice. They obviously also got a couple of Zerg kills earlier. So these 2 Oracles have been fantastic, to the point where you're wondering, should you not have made 3? Would it be better to go for like 3 Oracles? Anyways, one thing that Mr. ShoWTimE doesn't know yet, does he? Is the Spire. So that Spire is positioned in like a wide open area, but it's actually pretty much hidden because the Oracles pretty much always go, you know, along the outsides, right? So he doesn't know that he's going up against the Spire. Mutalisks are soon going to be able to join the battlefield. I do see some static defense right here in the bases. If Reynor can catch his opponent off guard right here with like a dozen mutas, it could actually backfire very quickly. So yeah, he saved up enough gas for 13 Mutalisks. If ShoWTimE can stop that from dealing damage, he's going to be in a really good spot. The problem is that ShoWTimE has been happily making a ground-based army. And believe it or not, Disruptors, Immortals, Zealots, Sentries, they're not particularly good against Mutalisks. The thing is, though, I think Reynor probably plans on... He probably plans on counterattacking with the Mutas. So what you usually do with Mutas is try to force an all-in from the opponent by killing all the probes. These Mutas are completely unscouted. ShoWTimE doesn't know what the opponent is going for. At this point in the meta, it's very popular to go for Mutalisks. But like I said, this series was played, well, a little bit ago. It's not that long ago, but it is currently developing very quickly. I've seen Muta play in the vast majority of the PvZs whenever Zerg gets the option over the last week or two. Alright. And this is actually a disaster. Yeah, so what exactly happens right now for ShoWTimE? Apparently he's going for an all-out assault. Reynor has been making a ton of probes, or sorry, a ton of drones, but now he's switched on over to full unit production. So he's got 83 workers. That is quite a bit. Disruptors, okay, not getting a good hit with the first one, but that second one was sweet. Nicely done right there by ShoWTimE. That being said, he's still on a timer. Baylings trying to connect with everything. All right. He's not attack moving a Baylings. I just move commanded to try and, I guess, let the Protoss player panic for as long as possible. Good split off creep right there. Muta still being microed as well. Protoss trying to chase him down, but that is 31 probes. And with that, ShoWTimE's chances of winning this game. All right, game number 2. We find ourselves on 2,000 atmospheres. Mutalisks in the mid game, they're kind of funny in a way, because we haven't seen them over the last couple of years pretty much ever. We've seen them every once in a while, but they're definitely a pretty rare unit. When we think about it for a little bit, though, Mutas are good against basically anything that Protoss does other than double Stargate openers. So double Stargate openers were the standard for the longest time. Protoss obviously, you know, they have a huge variety in their mid-game options, but if you go for a Twilight or a Robo or any of those follow-ups, even after opening Stargate initially, it's still very good for Zerg to go for some Muta play. I wouldn't be surprised if ShoWTimE maybe goes for some Phoenix shenanigans in this series as well, because I have seen quite a few Protoss players once again open up Phoenixes recently, because Phoenixes are, in case you're unfamiliar, like one of the counters to the Muta. Since they're very fast and they can move and shoot at the same time, you can chase down the Mutalisks pretty easily. Plus, Mutas are not particularly good at fighting things straight up. They're pretty good when you have, you know, a lot of them, but when you only have a couple, I mean, a couple meaning up to like 20 or so. If you have less than 20, you can be killed relatively easily by the Protoss armies. Interestingly enough, when you do have a ton of them, then suddenly it seems impossible to kill. I mean, obviously you can still storm them, and you can still get some Archons underneath and whatnot, but the main thing that Zerg players tend to do when they have a lot of Mutas is just refuse to attack the Protoss army head on. They will only attack like little bits and pieces of it whenever like the armies are separated. But usually Zerg will at that point in the game just opt for full-on counterattacks. And it's a style that we haven't seen too much over the last couple of years, but I mean, as a Zerg player at the very least, it warms my heart to see Mutas once again flip it around the map. That being said, I've played plenty of Protoss in the past as well. And I know it's an absolute disaster to go up against unexpected Mutas. It's honestly one of the worst feelings. When you're thinking you're playing a really good game, right? You're, you know, doing a bunch of damage like ShoWTimE was doing in that previous one. He was getting some value with those oracles of his. And then you don't pay attention, you don't scout the Spire, and suddenly you have 12 Mutas in your main base, and it's basically game over. I mean, even if you have Blink, if you don't have any static defense set up, and you're forced into it all in. It's a tricky scenario. Anyways, ShoWTimE once again opting for that Stargate start. Maybe we should call it a Startgate. Haha, sorry. It's early in the morning, okay? I gotta warm up a little bit. No, but seriously, I do think that Phoenix play would be pretty cool. Maybe like Oracle into Phoenix? The problem with Phoenix play, though, is that Zergling shenanigans in the earlier stages of the game can be quite a disaster. Alternatively, and I think that's probably the way that ShoWTimE is thinking about it, alternatively, you can just do a better job scouting. If he would have seen the Spire, right, he would have definitely made static defense. He probably wouldn't have gone for that move out. He would have had Stalkers waiting to intercept the Mutalisks as well. But since they showed up completely unscouted, yeah, it was tricky for him to get much done. Now, Protoss in general doesn't have nearly as much vision as Zerg. So especially once Zerg has their overlords flying around the map right a little bit later on, and then they have their Zergling speed and the creep spread and stuff. Zerg can essentially scout everything relatively easily. Okay, this is quite nice actually for Protoss. You do need to kill at least, I would say, 4 though. Okay. Alright. 4 drones for 2 adepts. I mean, it's not ideal, but not the end of the world either. Generally speaking, Protoss, what I'm trying to get at is a lot more in the dark. At that stage in the game, your best scouting method is either like an oracle, right? Tagging it. You can go for an observer to watch the other side of the map, but usually that can be a little bit dicey as well because you want to use that robo facility for other units. Or, of course, hallucinated phoenixes. I think hallucinated phoenixes are probably one of the best ways to do it. I like what Reynor was doing in the previous game too, though, where he put the Spire, like, basically, well, on the Berlin Grad equivalent of right here. It feels like it's very exposed and out in the open, but not very, yeah, likely for the Protoss player to scout that location. Anyways. Triple Oracle. Alright. So ShoWTimE apparently liked what he was doing with the Oracles in game number 1. He's like, you know what I do? I'll add a 3rd one into the mix. We'll probably see him once again transition towards a Robo and Twilight Council after this. Raynor scouts it out right now too. Starts up a couple of Spore Crawlers. He wants to see if there's continued production right now in that Stargate. Not happening. Nope. I don't think it's happening. Now, instead, we're just going to go into the Robo facility. Yeah, so ShoWTimE plays like... You know, he plays a bit of a boring style of Protoss, right? I personally really like it. I haven't... Oh my god, I haven't actually mentioned it yet, right? The German fans of ShoWTimE are probably shouting at me at their monitors right now for me to mention his nickname. People call him Die Mauer. Apparently my German pronunciation is not that good. But it translates to the wall. ShoWTimE plays like a, well, he plays like a wall, right? It's not particularly spicy, but it's awfully effective at what it's meant to do. Alright. This is kind of cool. This is kind of, you know, non-ShoWTimE-esque. Yeah, Raynor's thinking the same thing. He's like, you're not going to do anything with that. Alright. Did we lose an Oracle? Oh my god, he did lose an Oracle. Okay, I missed that one. That's a bit of a shame. Anyways. Most of these early game openers from Protoss are just there to leverage the Protoss into a third base. So that's exactly what ShoWTimE has done here. It is kind of funny to see, like, for example, someone like Hero, you know, compete in this, you know, at this level as well, or a little bit higher up than ShoWTimE currently, and play a completely different way. I feel like Hero was going for, like, at least last time I casted him, which is like a week ago, he was going for, like, double Phoenix starts and, you know, Disruptor drops and all that, and now we have ShoWTimE here going for the exact opposite style. A far more reliable approach, I suppose, but also... The problem with this, right, is that it's also a lot more predictable. So once again, we have +1 melee from the Zerg. We have a Baneling Nest. We do have Roach speed this time around, okay. So I was thinking maybe it could be another Spire. But... maybe he's still gonna add it on, actually. I wouldn't be surprised. It could also just be Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane, which is another unit composition that we used to see a lot from Zerg players. The thing is, though, that before... the Void Ray meta, that style got nerfed quite a bit because Banelings now deal far less damage to shields. So they used to be quite a bit stronger against Protoss units on the whole. These days, not quite at that level anymore. So Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane definitely still an option, but okay, certainly a little trickier. So I think it's mostly going to be Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane for like base defense, and then Mutalisks for the counter attack once again. The Spire though is yeah, seemingly quite late. ShoWTimE just finished up the charge upgrade. He's got 9 gateways as well. He's got a good economy. He's going up against a Zerg though that has way more drones. He's adding on even more. I wonder if these drones are actually wrongly timed. Queen's over here, caught off guard as well. Force field? Yep, nicely done. Surgical precision right there from ShoWTimE. He needed no more, no less than that little force field right over there. And I think that's the 4th base done for. Okay. Raynor is going to try and defend it. Honestly, that's still an awful lot of Zerg. Maybe I'm mistaken, actually. Okay, drones are soaking up a bunch of the damage too. Zerglings in the meantime actually managed to get in through the Natural Expo. Big arrow right here from ShoWTimE. Raynor obviously the man who's very well known to go for those run-bys. It's how he made a name for himself back in like 2018 or so. Okay, it looks like the base is gonna fall, but at what cost? Okay. Yeah, so the 4th base was killed. I would have liked this a hell of a lot better if he didn't lose, you know, 10 probes here at home in the meantime as well. Now suddenly, we are dealing with a massive Zerg run-by. No shield batteries over at the, what is this? The 4th base, the 6 o'clock position of the Protoss player just yet. Okay, good set of force fields once again. Nice juggling right there by the German Protoss. Raynor just right now, though, going for mass Roach Ravager. That 4th base is certainly not gonna live if Raynor decides to target it down. I think Raynor, though, is smelling blood in the water. He wants to finish up this game right here, right now. Needs to be careful, though. Ooh, okay. Good set of corrosive biles over there, too. Stalkers being warped in to try and get rid of those Roaches and Ravagers. ShoWTimE is warping in a lot of reinforcements. Another Immortal is soon to pop as well. No shield battery over here in the Natural either. That Immortal, though, is going to have a blast. Quite literally. Another 2 Immortals right there in the back. ShoWTimE. Oh my god, is ShoWTimE holding this? This is some really good control right here by our German here. Yeah, Raynor getting a little bit overly aggressive. Did he forget he was playing against a wall? You don't punch a wall, my man. It's a bad idea. Instead, you tech up to Brute Lords. Let the wall come to you. That was actually really nice. The fact that ShoWTimE held on, plus Raynor did not target fire down the base at the 6 o'clock position, puts him in a very nice spot. I mean, nah. very nice spot with like an asterisk right next to it. Soon to be very nice spot, I think. We're not quite there yet. 4th base of the Zerg player falls. And you all know how that feels, right? When you're playing 4 base Protoss versus 3 base Zerg, that is pretty good for our Protoss. Okay. ShoWTimE right now, though. Thinking about closing out the game right here, right now. Keep in mind, there is still a Spire, if I'm not mistaken. Did he cancel it? Maybe he canceled the Spire. No, he canceled the Spire. Okay. Probably wanted that money to make more Roaches and Ravagers. I was gonna say, if you're gonna go into like full, I don't know, Immortal Archon Zealot, then suddenly I guess you might have some trouble against some of those mutas. ShoWTimE, yeah, not expecting mutas at this point in the game for sure. Reynor, though, doesn't have that option until he remakes it. It's not done just yet. That's a lot of Archons, though. This is a very, very strong Roach killing force. Okay. Reynor wants to win this game. Really badly. He's not done. I did see a Dropper Lord as well. I don't know where it's at. There was a Dropper Lord on the production tab. Okay. That's a Dropper Lord with some queens underneath. I would love to see him bring the queens to the front here as well. That would be sick. So to clarify, queens can no longer transfuse off creep. But obviously they can bring the creep with them in the form of a Dropper Lord. Yeah. Dude. Sorry, Brenda. You're too thick. You didn't fit. Good defense here once again, though, by ShoWTimE. Reynor going for the base at the 12 o'clock as well. 3 o'clock expansion also once more available. Okay. I wonder if ShoWTimE is playing a little too aggressively here, though. Actually, dude, there's so many Immortals. Holy... Okay, there's 5 Immortals. Normally we see, like, a couple of them. Alright, Queens apparently have got a little first aid tent right over here. They're transfusing the Roaches and Ravagers back up to full. Nice, I guess, but the problem is there's a huge Protoss force right over here as well. Okay, transfuses here are super nice, though. Queens here tanking a ton of that charge damage from those Zealots. More Archons? More Archons. Wow, okay. We're soon going to be at 6 Archons and 6 Immortals. I like it. Base, by the way, all the way up north, apparently forced to be cancelled because a couple of Zealots ran on over in that direction. So what counters this, right? If you're a Zerg player, what exactly counters this? The big thing you can do is Brute Lords. The problem is, ShoWTimE is not letting his foot off the gas here, and neither is Reynor, by the way, for what it's worth. Good micro, very nice pickups. The problem is that, yeah, you can't really go up to Brutes without being given a bunch of time and a bunch of resources, too. Reynor really wants to be at, like, at least 10 gas. Well, he's there right now, so he could start up that transition. By the way, he's going full Ravager. The main reason for that is that Immortals deal bonus damage to armored units. Roaches are armored, but as soon as you morph them into a Ravager, they lose that armor tag. So despite the fact that Ravagers have less health than a Roach, Immortals are... yeah, gonna take more shots to kill a Ravager than they do to kill a Roach. Second cancel. I love it. Apparently, Reynor is convinced that it's gonna work out to just go mass Roach Ravager, but I'm not entirely sure if I agree. The problem is, Reynor's army is not gonna get any stronger than what he's got right now. Love to see these rocks go down, by the way. Yeah, he's hoping for some sick biles, and he's getting some of them. My point is, though, is that our Protoss player is continuously improving this army. Protoss is not maxed out yet, whereas Reynor is. Okay, Zealots, though. Zealots don't care about Roaches and Ravagers. They're just gonna, yeah, plow through it. Very good control right here by our Protoss player. This is while he's simultaneously defending on the left side of the map, too. Impressive multitasking from the both of them. Look how fast they are playing. Okay, oh my god, an accidental sandwich! Reynor is going to be able to sneak those Roaches away. That was almost an absolute disaster. Alright. ShoWTimE is going to finish up +3. Zerg only just now started up +2. So that is, for obvious reasons, amazing here for ShoWTimE. And what seemed like a win here for the Zerg, I think it's slowly moving in the direction of a Protoss win instead. Although not if it's up to Reynor. Yeah, Reynor actually doing a nice counterattack here. Protoss at the same time, though, going after the base right here on the right side of the map once again. Absolute mass Archon Immortal. Archons in the front, Immortals in the back. I love it, man. So good. Look at them dealing a bunch of damage over there, too. They deal so much damage. That being said, Roach is also taking care of a base right here on the left side of the Protoss. I'm just looking at this force, and I'm not exactly sure what you can do to, like, prevent it from murdering everything. What about Swarm Hosts? I feel like Swarm Hosts would actually be a choice, too. Yeah, Reynor shouldn't have cancelled the Spire. I understand that he did, because he was very concerned about losing the game, right? Especially since he just made, like, 90 workers. So he's like, okay, I guess I need to cancel the Spire to get some of my money back, but he probably wished he kept it around and didn't make so many drones instead. Alright, game number 3. Curious Minds. If ShoWTimE goes for a Stargate opener on this map too, he's gonna do it in every single one of his PvZs. At the very least, at that point, we've been given a nice update in ShoWTimE's Protoss versus Zerg approach. Because, yeah, it means he's basically just still doing the same opener that he always has. No Twilight Council, no Robotic Facility shenanigans for him. That being said, I mean, maybe he's gonna, you know, maybe he is gonna mix it up. Maybe he's gonna go for a Dark Templar all-in. No, who am I kidding? There's no way that Mr. ShoWTimE is gonna go for a Dark Templar all-in. He's an honorable macro Protoss. Oh. Sorry, I am... Someone... I'm too curious. Alright. I guess someone disconnected. Rest in peace? Oh, rest in peace. I'm disconnected, and Roddy says, I'll make the joke. Rest in peace. I'm casting from replays. So whenever you're in a replay in StarCraft 2, it shows up all of the chat if the game was paused in one, you know, large clump like that. I always have to check, man. I'm too curious. I know, you know, most of you are probably curious as well. Does ShoWTimE kill the Roombas? I think there is one supposed to be in the main base around this area too, is it not? I know a lot of Protoss players do kill the Roombas because sometimes they can block your structures, like this one. Get out of here, Roomba. Every once in a while, you queue up a structure over here in the middle, right? Be it a hatchery, a command center, or a nexus. And the Roomba, like, is safe, for example, on this side. You want to start it up, and it makes the trip all the way painfully slow towards the other end of the location. And it genuinely delays the structure by, like, 3 seconds. Honestly, though, the 3 seconds isn't even the biggest part of it. It's mostly the mental damage that it causes, because you're just getting really triggered about, you know, the little critter that's just minding in his own business. Anyways, I believe there is usually... Oh, there is one right over there. Was it on the screen earlier? Maybe it was on the screen earlier. I know a lot of StarCraft players actually kill it, especially Terrans and Protosses. But I personally, I'm not a very superstitious person, but... yeah, I don't think you should do it. No, I don't think you should do it, man. It's just bad luck. You're setting yourself up for failure. Always set yourself up for success with everything you do in life. Don't kill the cleaning bots. Some people even go as far as to kill the dogs on... what's it called? Like on Berlingrad? That's... no. Don't do it. Please, no. Anyways. Alright, I'm gonna hit the fast forward button. Just because we've seen this opener twice already. And despite the fact that Zerg versus Protoss at this point is pretty spicy, Mr. ShoWTimE has none of it. Alright, we're back to regular speed now. We've seen him go for 1 Oracle, 2 Oracle, 3 Oracle. I think he's only going for a single one this time around. Interestingly, never mind. Just delayed the second one for a little bit. Wanted to go for the third base a little bit faster. Okay, nice skirmish here by Raynor, though. Forcing that Oracle to go back home. It's actually a pretty cute little move right there from Raynor. So Raynor at this point doesn't have a whole lot to defend against those Oracles yet. Right, so he skipped Spore Crawlers. He doesn't have too many Queens yet. But he forced the Oracle to turn around by sending out the Zerglings. So it turns out the best defense is once again the offense. Yeah, Oracles are just chilling over here. Concerned for Zerglings to cancel the third. Very nicely done by Reynor. Raynor's so good at this game, man. There's been some discussion recently about Queens in particular. So I don't think there's going to be too much for us to talk about here anyways, because there might be some damage, but I don't suspect it to be that significant. Although, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Don't lose it. Don't lose the Adept. Alright. There has been some discussion lately where people have hammered home about a gajillion times over the last 10 years that queens are too strong, right? I think we can all agree that queens are a little bit too well-rounded. The problem is, Zerg doesn't really have too much in the early game to, you know, as an alternative. Like, as it comes to early game anti-air, for example, you have queens and spore crawlers, and that's it. Proper Zerg anti-air doesn't come until you get corruptors out. Mutas aren't really good at anti-air. Hydras aren't that great either, but at least decent, right? They're kind of comparable to queens in a lot of ways. There's been some discussion lately, and I kind of like this this suggestion. So maybe you can let me know down below in the comment section of what you think of this. But some people have been saying that you should nerf the queen, and then subsequently make it so that you can make the Hydralisk then at hatchery tech. So you can make Hydras at hatchery tech like you could in Brood War, right? But then you can't get the Hydralisk upgrades until you are at lair. And I think it's actually a pretty cool idea. I would like to see that implemented in the game as a test. It would obviously allow Zergs to go for some timing attacks, right? A little bit sooner, I guess you could finish up those upgrades. Anyway, speaking of timing attacks, look at this. It is the smallest map in the map pool. Normally that means that Protoss can be the one who's playing a little bit more aggressively, but it looks like Reynor, okay. Reynor is gonna bring queens to the party. He does have lair done. He's pooping creep over here with the queens as well, trying to bring them back towards the creep so he can actually transfuse. That was actually a really cool little move right here from Reynor, keeping that queen over there in the front alive as well. Oh my god, yeah, look at that. He's slow pushing overlords. I've seen a little bit of this in the GSL, but not a whole lot outside of it. I know that Dark was experimenting with this sort of stuff for a bit. Seemed to be working out for him quite well. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't go for a Stargate opener on a map like this. Look at the queens, tanking so much damage. Ravagers over here are having an absolute blast. Raining corrosive bile after corrosive bile. This is not quite the same as like your regular run-of-the-mill queen walk that we used to see in the previous patch. A huge set of corrosive biles over there. Normally that one was done off of like 40-something workers. Raynor actually has like essentially 3-base saturation. This is 5 gas, 3-base saturation. Zerglings right now get into the base. That's GG. That's already too much damage over here. And now Zerglings are in the main base too. Yep, GG. Alright. Not the timing attack that I expected in that game. Normally, it's up to the Protoss player to go for a timing attack. And clearly, ShoWTimE wasn't ready for that one either. Alright. Game number 4. We're on Hardwire. So to finish my train of thought, what about nerfing queens? So maybe less anti-air ranged, or like less HP, or something along those lines, right? Make queens a little bit less versatile, because it's obvious that they are the best Zerg unit without a shadow of a doubt. And then add Hydralisks to hatchery tech, but you can't get the upgrades until you go to lair. So, once upon a time, Zergs used to go for Hydralisk timings. So some of you may recall that. You used to go for like 52 workers, 53 drones. You would go 5 gas, and since the Hydra upgrades, muscular augments and grooved spines, so the ranged upgrade and the speed upgrade for Hydras, they at the time were merged. They were just one upgrade. You would go Hydra then straight into, you know, that upgrade, and then you could just, yeah, push with a very powerful timing attack. And Protoss players would usually struggle to hold on to that third base of theirs. Anyways, I guess that build could potentially make a comeback if you can already start up the Hydralisk at Hydra, or at Hatchery Tech rather, but I think it would be pretty doable. Maybe not though. Maybe it would be too strong, which is why I'm saying, like, it would be cool to see it tested. We would have to have players at the tippity top of the level testing it though. That's always like the weird part as well, right? Usually Blizzard, whenever they do a new multiplayer balance patch, they will make like a separate server for it, like a PTR server, like a public test realm, where you can test out all of the changes. But usually none of the pro players actually do so because, well, they make a living playing this video game in the current patch. And there's absolutely no benefit for them to, like, you know, practice on a patch that isn't even gonna go live yet, right? So usually, unless there's no tournaments coming up, but there's always tournaments coming up, usually, yeah, the PTR is a cool idea, but not really that useful until, But anyways, I would like to see it, at the very least, added to the game. It would be kind of fun to see how that would develop. I don't think it would break ZVZ. I mean, it wouldn't. It definitely would not break ZVT either, I don't think. Although maybe it would be an indirect nerf to Widow Mines. I don't know. The thing is, I think it would be fun for Terrans as well to have like a variety of options in the early game. Oh, nice block. Like Terrans right now, every single one of their early game openers gets countered by Queens. Literally every single one of them. I mean, sometimes you need Zerglings for support and stuff, but... Anyways, I like this for ShoWTimE quite a bit though, while I'm blabbering onwards about unrelated stuff. Oh, he wants to get the drone. Get the drone, get the drone! Oh, get it! Nice. This is actually not a good start here for the Italian Zerg whatsoever. Unsurprisingly, by the way, it is once again a Stargate. ShoWTimE, there you go. Thought for a second he forgot that he finished the Stargate, but nope, 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 nope. Nice. Oh, good morph, good morph. Second Adept now also out. Honestly, you might want to go for the base on the low ground over here, Raynor. Adept's over here. Little... yeah, this is a little bit sloppy. This is starting to look like one of my ladder games now. Raynor, not as clean and on point as he usually is. You can see he's getting punished for it right away. Nothing too significant, nothing game-ending, but definitely an advantage right here for our Protoss player. Eventually, the third hatchery does come up. Third Next is also starting up as soon as ShoWTimE has the money for it. Here's the Oracle. Oracle going... That's... I don't like this rally, though. Why are we sending the Oracle to the third base? You know it's not up. You know, there's not going to be any drones there. Okay, that was a little bit unnecessary. Probably already had set the rally point over there, and he's like, okay, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, you can still make a beeline, I guess, for the natural. Anyways. You should probably not expect to get any damage in when the Oracle first arrives anyway, but it may as well try, right? Maybe send it out, like, right over here and then towards the main base. Maybe you could have gotten a couple drone kills. Alright. So, Raynor at this point, forced to cut some corners if he wants to come back into this. And these 5 Adepts may actually become a little bit annoying. We've only got 3 Zerglings at this point. Okay, there. Never mind, this is ShoWTimE playing. I thought maybe he was gonna try and shade them into a base, but I think he's just here to kill creep tumors. Probably. Yep. Okay, he does manage to go into the main base as well. Are we gonna recall? I almost feel like we're gonna recall. This is actually a little bit of an overextension, I think, now with these 2 Adepts. Or these 2 Adepts, these 5 Adepts. 2 drones are killed. If it wasn't for the creep tumors, I wouldn't have liked it too much. Okay, Oracle's going in deep. We're already at 10 worker kills, which is pretty much where you ideally want to be as a Protoss player. Obviously, you did lose a bunch of Adepts there in the meantime too, but I don't think the leftover units here from the Zerg player are going to be able to deal too much damage. Adept in the wall. Very good. Units at the third base too. The shield batteries weren't done yet, or the shield battery. It wasn't done yet, so maybe the Zergling could have killed a sentry, but good force fields probably would have taken care of that as well. Alright, so what's Raynor's course of action here? He's probably just gonna power out drones. Another 4 drones end up going down though, but he's probably gonna power out as many as he can. Oracle also got destroyed, so it's something. It's the beginning of what could be a comeback. He decides to go... Okay, so rather than going +1 melee, Baneling Nest, and Aspire and all that, right? He decides to go into the Roach Warren with the +1 missile instead. That's a huge indication. Transfuse on a drone. Really? That's a huge indication that he wants to go for a Roach Ravager-based army, right? Obviously, you can still transition out of it, but usually when you go for Mutas, you want to go +1 melee, just so you can benefit your Zerglings a little bit better. I'm expecting here to see like a massive Roach Ravager army, maybe into Brute Lords eventually, if he can get there. Reynor, though, still managed to get to full 3-base saturation. He's going for a 4th hatchery over here, too. But honestly, you know what? That's not that much firepower here. I think he's going to be okay. Blink is about 90% of the way done. Can he kill that base? There's not that much firepower in this Protoss army. He wants to. I think Reynor may have just started it up what seemed to be a little bit too early, but at the correct time after all. Stasis Ward, okay. Good biles. And goodbye to the Protoss army. It's going back home. Alright, second Robo, as well as a Robo Bay. Cool. So double Robo. +1 weapons just finished up right here for Protoss. And he's going to go into the Disruptor play together with the charge. Yeah, so he's giving Reynor a lot of time. This always scares me a bit, though. He is still going to go for a Spire. Okay, Reynor's like, okay, yeah, if I have 8 gases, Spire is still going to be pretty sweet. +1 is finishing up here for Reynor very soon. Okay, I like this. Using the Oracles here to target fire down 2 of those Ravagers. Not bad, may as well. So now we're still going to go into +1 melee. Well, you could see how good that was in game number 1, right? Where you could suddenly catch your opponent off guard with like a bunch of mutas. Reynor wants to obtain the victory right here on Hardwire. I'm hoping that this time around it is going to be scouted. So the Spire's right over there. Alternatively, we could obviously have, yeah, blind static defense. I like this. Okay, so ShoWTimE thinking as well. I'm in a good spot. How would my opponent come back here? Mutas are one of the obvious answers. Alternatively, it could be straight into like Brute Lords or something along those lines, but this is a very non-ShoWTimE-esque army, though. I kind of expect this from like Zest or something. But anyways. Oh, charge is not done. Charge is gonna finish in 5. Alright. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Suddenly they found our legs! Suddenly they have like an extra button inside of their, I don't know. Where'd the button be? Inside of their thigh? Yeah, I think that's where it would be. They press the button and suddenly they find themselves slicing forward. Anyways. Slicing forward? Ah, I guess so. I meant sliding forward, but I guess in a Zealot, you know, in a Zealot's case, you can also slide, or slice forward. Actually, I don't think I can really press a button. Nah. They have, you know, swords for arms. Bad idea. Ravagers! Okay. Good hit right there with the Disruptors. Not bad. At the same time, though, Mutas right now are forced to kill a bunch of Zealots. No council on the hatchery. 14 drones just went down. All jokes aside, this is looking pretty good right here for the German. I mean, the German. Stargate number 2 coming up. And we have Phoenix production. Okay. A lot of Zerg players right now are doubling down on Muta play too. So, in Reynor's case, he's only made like 1 group of Mutas here. In both of the games. I don't know if he's gonna add on even more. No, he's instead spending his gas right now on more Ravagers. Fair enough. Prism. Prism goes by, unscouted. So, I know a lot of, like for example, Dark is very fond of just making a gajillion Mutas at this stage. The problem is, though, once the Phoenixes are out in decent numbers... Oh, no, not like that. Okay. Once they're out in decent numbers, you can chase down infinite amount of Mutas, it seems. He's making 2 of them at once. Even upgrading the shields. Guess that's mostly for Archons and whatnot. Yeah. I guess it benefits everything, right? It's not bad. I guess when you're going for a variety of units, and you have any Archon-based armies, it's not a terrible idea to go for the shield upgrades. Not something we commonly see. Or maybe we do and I just never notice it. Anyhow. Yeah, these Mutas are basically wasted. I think the main thing we need to look at is this fight over here at the front. ShoWTimE leveraging himself after a very clean early game into a nice mid-game advantage. And that means we're going to game number 5. As far as the scoreboard goes, little map like Blackburn. Since we read from left to right and from top to bottom, I think, yeah, I think Raynor should be at the top right here of the scoreboard. Although this one, I would be okay with it being... Actually, no, never mind. I'm not okay with it. No. I thought I would be, but it looked dirty to me, okay? No, this is... No. We can't. Maybe if you live somewhere where you reach from right, you know, right to left or something. Like Australia, right? You guys in Australia read from right to left and from the bottom to the top, right? Pretty sure. Because everything's upside down. Anyways. Blackburn is going to be our final map for today. I think we're just going to see a good old hatch gas pool and probably a good old Nexus here at 20 supply. I'm going to once again double tap my speed up button. Just because the early game is probably going to be quite predictable, or it's something we can quite easily predict here. One of the advantages of casting from replay. And it's not our Stargate. I mean, I started off this series saying I was curious to see how ShoWTimE was going to perform in PvZ, right? And what kind of opener he's going for. Well, apparently he's found his new favorite build. We have a little bit of shenanigans, by the way, on the other side of the map. Apparently oracles are his way to go. Yep. So it's some Zerglings harassing the third base, forcing the oracle to stay at home. And now we can actually start looking at what, you know, the deviation is going to be. Right, where are we going to go from here? I would like to see Reynor going for another one of those queen-based pushes, but I don't know if it's possible on a map like this. Obviously, if you can get creep over here, it's pretty nice because you can choose to go for the third base or the natural. But not likely for that to be the case. It's a long way. Something smaller like Curious Minds, yeah, certainly an option. Alright. ShoWTimE. Thinking he's mixing it up hardcore. He's like, I went 2 oracles this time rather than 3. Game changer, dude. Absolute game changer. Now, it doesn't mean that he's able to transition towards his other structures and whatnot a little bit quicker, of course. So, a robo facility here. Pretty early. Yeah, a depth shading in. Okay, good catch right there. Very nice interception by Raynor. That was really pretty, actually. I still did lose 4 drones here, but... Zerglings have been tasked with running to the other side of the map. We have a robo bay once again, so probably a second robo facility here pretty soon as well. Always checking. He's always checking. That's how he wins a lot of games against lower level players, I'm sure. Always checking if the front door is open. Always checking if the sentries are exposed. Good force field there by ShoWTimE. Once again, surgical precision. Larry's gonna finish up. Where are we gonna go from here? Well, we're gonna go into a gold base. Fair enough. Okay. Larry's done. He's not adding on anything just yet. Okay. Just an overseer? I guess just an overseer here for scouting purposes to figure out exactly what it is that the Protoss player is going for. Yeah, this is some quick Disruptor shenanigans, though. This is as crazy as ShoWTimE can play. Sending out a nice little hit squad over here to the back of the golden base. And honestly, I don't know how you're gonna break this as a Zerg. I love that stasis ward. That stasis ward there is awesome. Okay, queens are apparently still going to be quite strong here, though. Overseer in the main base, scouting everything that we have. Good force field there once again by the Protoss player. Ravagers are available. We're going to fight over the golden minerals. Not bad. Yeah, how are you going to mine this? Sure, he's finished up the 4th base here, but... as long as that Protoss army is camping outside, I guess it's hard to actually mine those golden minerals. That being said, golden base coming up right now for ShoWTimE too. Boop, put it in there. Not walking into the stasis ward, it seems, and he is going to be able to now mine those resources. There's the Baneling Nest. There's the Evo Chamber. Are we going to go for a Spire once more? I wouldn't be surprised if you see a Spire added on here. He's got the money for it, though. I think if he would have, he probably would have already started it. Anyways, Dark Shrine coming up here for ShoWTimE. Oh, there it is. Disruptor drops. Together with the Speedy Boy upgrade. I like it. Hallucinated Phoenixes pretending to be real Phoenixes while they gun down an Overlord. Not dealing any damage to it, though. He's trying to bait the Zerg units right there into that stasis ward. He wants them to engage off creep. So far, not happening, though. Okay. ShoWTimE, you need to spy. Oh, ShoWTimE did not scout the Spire. He did send the Hallucinated Phoenixes in the right direction. Did he scout it? He's making Phoenixes right now. No, he didn't scout it, but he is making Phoenixes. Interestingly enough. Okay, he's starting up a couple of Phoenixes here. I kind of dig it. Yeah, he hasn't got a clue that this is actually the case, but okay, Disruptor drop over here too. Raynor at this point knows that his opponent is making Phoenixes too. This is, well, Overseer is being gunned down. 7 drones, by the way, killed right here by the Disruptor drop. Can we do a Disruptor drop over here too? Nah. Careful, careful! Oh my god. Ah. Losing that is very frustrating. Now suddenly ShoWTimE is up with his back against the wall. He starts up a Prism once again right away, but obviously this means that the Zerg is going to be able to go on the offense if they want to. 12 Mutalisks coming up, 4 Archons coming up as well. Still hasn't scouted the Spire though, so it's only 2 Phoenixes at this point. Only a single Stargate as well. Zerg apparently now gonna harass the Golden Base from the back. At least it seemed like he wanted to, but a little bit scared probably for this Protoss army. There's a Dark Templar right there in the mix too. Yeah, just 1 Dark Templar. I think he used maybe a couple more to morph in those Archons. Alright, so let's see. Mutas. Gotta take care of Prism number 2. Phoenixes, okay. Immediately start up the Fleet Beacon as well as the +1 flyer attacks as well as another Stargate. Fair enough. Slow zone right here does help out a little bit. There's currently 3 of those flyers, but is that enough? At the same time, okay, a big fight over here happening in the center of the map too. Some of the Zerg army here caught off guard. Banelings rolling into Archons, not where you want them to be. Mutas, though, dealing a bunch of damage here at the 3rd base, but Phoenixes are on top of it, too. I think that ShoWTimE manages to hold on right here by the skin of his teeth. Very close fights. Could have gone in favor of the Zerg, but he just barely manages to escape here, I think. Alright, so he is starting up the transition right now. Fleet Beacon is going to finish. Additional Archons, I guess, coming up. Zerg, though, in the meantime, is taking a base in the top left. He's already at a hive. Wouldn't mind seeing a greater Spire, but obviously he knows that Protoss now also has, you know, the +1 flyer attack research and the Fleet Beacon and all that, so could be a carrier transition right here from ShoWTimE, which honestly at this stage in the game I wouldn't mind seeing, especially when +1 is done. If we go straight into +2, it would be awesome. Oracle from the early game still being annoying, helping out wherever it can. Creep spread though, really far forward, no observer up above here, so he needs to use, I guess, the Oracle right here for like a revelation, push back some of that creep. At the same time, Phoenix is being annoying on the other side of the map. Suddenly there's action everywhere. Gotta be so careful though. Oh my god, okay, good Disruptor Novas. Very nicely done right there by Raynor, or by ShoWTimE. In these kind of situations, in these types of games, I find myself automatically favoring Raynor just because he's done this so many times and his multitasking is ridiculous. But I'm very impressed with the way that ShoWTimE is playing this. Okay, Roach Ravager army moving very deep off creep. Good evacuation right there by Warp Prism here. ShoWTimE picking up the weakened units, keeping them alive, and now he's gonna go into the carriers. Starts up a 5th Nexus in the top right-hand corner of the map too. He's got 80 probes. Like, the thing is, I've seen Raynor win in these sorts of situations millions of times, it feels like. Okay, maybe that's a little excessive, but I've seen him win dozens of times against weaker Protosses. You can see that he kind of relies on just creating chaos everywhere and just being faster than the opponent. Look at this. An average actions per minute of nearly 10 buttons a second. Like, this entire game long. It's insanely fast, and it's super hard to actually hold on. Okay, Banelings actually might be able to go... No, not quite. Once the mineral fields are mined out, they can go through. At this stage in the game, not happening yet. Oracle still with the supplemental damage. It is gonna fall here, but no. Okay, maybe. Let's accept that it's death. Nope, never mind. Obviously, Zerg has already finished up the Spire! Oof. He's already finished up the Spire, so he can go straight into Corruptors against that production of the Protoss player as well. Those carriers are soon going to be out in the battlefield. Well, looks like there's already a couple. Yeah, not bad. Zerglings here. Gonna be taken care of. Lings in the main base of the Protoss player too. Raynor is suddenly everywhere, but ShoWTimE is holding on. ShoWTimE is playing some very impressive StarCraft, man. This is probably the best we've seen him so far. This is really good. Careful. Prism. Automated Prism going down. That was kind of sloppy. The Prism... Okay, Prism. Hello. These guys have been killed too by, you know, Zerg units earlier. Okay. Caustic Spray right here used on the carrier production. May as well, you know, if you have 1,000 actions per minute, you may as well do that, I guess. Most of us are struggling to play the basics, but Raynor's like, no, let me show you how it's done. Splits against those units too. Still, 5 base Protoss with Sky-Protoss coming up is pretty good. Observer now finally available in his army too. So ShoWTimE can actually start being a little adventurous. Going onto the creep. Zerglings though still being such a nuisance everywhere. Okay. Yeah, he's just doing some spring cleaning over here. Getting rid of all of the creep spread that Zerg has been building up over the course of the last 14 minutes. Needs to be careful though, there is a large Zerg army over here. Disruptor, okay, does not connect because Raynor targets it down. Carrier's also separated from the rest of the pack, and that means that the Archons are not underneath, so the Corruptors can just easily pick them off one at a time. 14 probes also killed right here at the back of the golden base. Yeah, Banelings apparently now had a way to go in because the mineral fetches were mined out. Raynor is so stupid good at this game, man. It's almost unfair. Like, as someone who struggles really hard in these kinds of scenarios, after playing this game for, well, 12 years, it's very impressive to see how Raynor is still in control in the midst of chaos. Like, look at the actions per minute. Look at it. We're talking 4 digits. Well, I mean, not on average, I guess. But he's gone up to 1,000 actions per minute. Now, obviously, I get it, right? Repeat delays and repeat rates and rapid fire and all of the tricks that Zerg players... well, and Protoss players also use to go up to a high. But there's no denying that even with all of those tools in place, it still is incredibly hard to actually be that fast. It's not even just about being fast, it's also about being accurate, right? Like, being fast is not that complex. But it's super hard to, you know, be super fast and then still lose your entire army to a couple Disruptors, right? I'm really good at being super fast at losing all my stuff. It's a skill I'm not proud about, but... I'm not proud of it, but... nice move right here by ShoWTimE. Anticipating this once again. We do need a unit right there in the wall off. Don't use the all army hotkey. 5 Brute Lords, by the way, coming up. In the midst of all of this, Raynor apparently morphed in a Greater Spire. As soon as those Protoss Flyers are gone, and at this point there's none of them other than 3 Phoenixes and an Oracle. No more Carriers, Void Rays, none of that, right? 10 Brute Lords are gonna kill everything. 10 Brute Lords, if they can force a head-on engagement against that Protoss ground army, they are enough to wipe the floor with everything that Protoss has. Sure, there's 10 Stalkers out, but 10 Stalkers are not gonna be an... okay, that's nice. That's really good, though, by ShoWTimE. Good hit. Very good hit. He's actually catching this Roach army right now off guard as well. Raynor getting a little bit overly zealous. Yeah, I like that. Good pickups right there by ShoWTimE. Killing a ton of Roaches right there, and the traits are still very resource positive here for our Protoss player. The problem is, I think he's making himself up for a push right about right now, thinking he's got the chance to potentially obtain the victory. He hasn't seen the Brute Lords yet, but he's gonna find out soon enough. Now he sees them. Yep, what are you gonna do? You can't fight this. No, he's forced to make a home. Yeah, he's gonna be forced to go all the way back home. Alright, ShoWTimE with his back against the wall for the better part of 7 minutes. Thought he was finally free. Still finds himself playing against a absolutely huge Zerg army. Reynor doesn't have that much economy, but apparently enough to at the very least continuously reproduce. New Stargates are coming up, a new fleet beacon is coming up because the caustic spray, I guess, is... No, he actually does still have a fleet beacon, okay. I don't know why he's going for a second one. He probably assumed as well that the caustic spray got rid of it. Six probes have gone down. Zerglings over here dealing damage at the third. This is some proper high-level StarCraft. I love that we have saved this for the last game. I mean, the previous games were good too, don't get me wrong, but... It's like both players have powered up. This is their final form. Super Saiyan 7. And yet there's still gonna be that one guy in the comment section who's like, Brute Lord's too strong. Void Rays, Phoenixes are stupid, right? There's always that one guy. It makes me giggle sometimes, but... Anyways, tons of damage being done. Brute Lords, though, they're on a one-way trip. Actually, is this gonna end with a base race? I mean, if it's up to Raynor, yes. He will just blow everything up. That being said, a lot of Archons do still remain. These are fully upgraded Zerg units, though. I mean, they should be. No, they actually don't have +3. Anyways, they still pack a punch. Those Archons are responsible for so many kills, though. 17, 14, 12, 6. Okay, I don't know. I may have not selected all of them, but they have dozens of kills to their belt. The Brute Lords, though, like I said, they're too slow. It's a one-way trip. They can't really go home to defend against this army, and ShoWTimE actually may be able to pull a rabbit out of a hat. The Brutes can clean this up easy peasy if they manage to get back home, but they can't. So instead, I think that Reynor is opting right now, okay, to split off some of the Brutes to bring them home just in case this takes long enough. But he's also sending in a bunch of them to clean up the bases here of the Protoss player. I mean, I'm assuming at least these are gonna... No, they're also gonna go home? My god, you guys are slow. Yeah, if you guys were faster, though, I guess you'd be kind of broken. I've suggested a Brute Lord speed buff in the past, but in the current meta, that would be way too strong. Alright. ShoWTimE recognizes the situation that he's in, and with that, Raynor obtains the victory in this best of 5 series.